Every live sound engineer has a pelly full of gear, right? So if you've not got one, you probably feel like you should, otherwise you're not a professional. Maybe you've been landing more frequent gigs, so you went out and bought yourself a Pelly 1510 and now you're ready to fill it up. Only one question remains. Fill it with what? It can be tempting to emulate other sound engineers that you've seen, but good gear is expensive, and I caution you to actually only buy equipment that you need. It's important to cover the basics, the lifesavers of a show, because if you blow all of your cash on microphones that no one's using, but you don't have the adapter that would save the day, then you might feel a little silly. I'm going to take you through the expectations and the realities of what gear you absolutely must own, what gear you definitely don't need to buy, and some optional extras that I would recommend. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's start by dispelling some myths, or just stuff that people that I talk to seem to not know about, which is the equipment that other people provide, and essentially the definition between a sound engineer and a rental company or a production company, right? Because if you are working as a sound engineer, you're renting your services, your abilities, and your skill set to someone in exchange for money, right? You're agreeing to solve their problem for money. Sometimes people ask me like, oh, I'm thinking about buying a mixer. Should I buy a mixer? No, is my answer to that, unless you are planning on opening a rental company. Because when you buy a mixer, mixers are expensive, and then you need to find people to rent that mixer off of you to make your money back on that investment. Otherwise, what was the point of it? Then people say things like, oh, but I might just get like a little Midas MR18 or something, to which I answer, like, focus on quality. Your ability to do good work as a sound engineer is often dictated by the quality of the equipment and your surroundings, right? You want to only work on the best equipment. You want to be someone who's mixing on acoustics and D&B PEA systems, right? And no single entity, no single sound engineer is buying a D&B PA system for the times that they get work, right? The people who buy D&B PA systems are huge companies who rent it out then to other large companies who put on conferences and things. And if you want to be the one using that equipment, you rent your skills to them. So buying mixers, I wouldn't recommend it. Next up, microphones, DI boxes, in-ear monitors, right? Also, I would expect the production to provide these things, right? A vocalist requires a microphone that suits their voice, right? So if there is a band that you're working with, then the artist should have the microphone which is suited to that vocalist. Sure, you can probably have that conversation with them and buy something, but ultimately their production should own that equipment. The same is true of in-ear monitors, though I don't hear a lot of sound engineers wanting to go out and buy, Shure PSM 1000 rack and bring that to gigs, right? And herein lies the problem. People often want to buy toys that they play with, right? And they see in-ear monitors as toys that the artist plays with. So things that are kind of critical to the show, like specifically the microphones the show uses, the DI boxes the show uses, and the in-ear monitors that the show uses, should be provided by the show. And just to add to that, any other essentials for a production to run. So that is laptops for playback, sound cards for playback or recording, licenses for Dante Virtual Sound Card for recording, QLab for playing sound files. Anything that is required for that production to run should be provided by the production, if you ask me. If you're working a conference and there needs to be multi-channel playback, then the production needs to provide that equipment. If you're thinking about buying this equipment, then you are thinking about getting into the business of renting equipment to bands and productions, in which case you are now trying to compete with other people renting stuff. You don't want to be fighting for the bottom of the barrel stuff. So from the get-go, you shouldn't be buying stuff which is for a production. Having said that, let's move on. If that was useful information for you so far, then you could subscribe to this channel and you would get updated when new videos come out about live sound engineering. Next up, things that you should own. Okay, first off, do you really need a Pelly? Get the correct storage vessel. If you are perhaps based in the United States, where driving is a much larger part of culture and you're often driving to every gig, there's loads and loads of parking, etc., etc., then perhaps getting a Pelly case, nice hard case to protect your equipment, is a reasonable investment. Pelly cases are pretty much guaranteed for life. They're pretty indestructible. I've thrown them about the back of tour vans many, many times, and they always turn out well. If you are, like me, in a European urban area which is very well connected by public transport and very cyclable, then it might not be worth your while to get a Pelly. From my point of view, I use a backpack because I can't take the Peli on my bike, so it would cost me so much time and money to haul that Peli around. So before you buy a Peli, ask yourself, is that actually what you need? For reference, I use a DB backpack currently, and I love that. The second point before I dive into what you actually need, I said this already, buy quality. Do not cheap out. Buy good stuff. If you buy good quality audio equipment, it will last you a lifetime. With that in mind, first thing, headphones. You need a headset. It's your diagnostic tool as a sound engineer. If you don't have one yet, you absolutely 100% must buy a good headset. And I mean now. I mean before you buy your Peli or whatever backpack you're going to put it in, you need that headset. It is your ears. It's your method of hearing what is going on in the mixer without using the speakers. For reference, I use a Sennheiser HT25s. I've had them for about 12 years at this point. They're indestructible. I love them. Next up, I recommend using the Sonic Sound Bullet. It's just the ultimate diagnostic tool. It's really compact, it's easy to carry, it's rechargeable, and no production is going to provide that for you, but it just speeds up your workflow in terms of troubleshooting. And remember, you're hired to solve problems for companies, so the quicker you can solve a problem like, why is there no sound in this cable, the more trusted you are by those companies. Next up, I would recommend buying an iPad actually. I've got one right here. It's right in front of me. I use it for loads of stuff, but I use it a lot on gigs. Like until I bought one, I was always thinking like, what would I use an iPad for? As soon as I bought it, I use it like every single day just to remote control stuff or to play back audio. Honestly, like how did I ever ring out monitors without an iPad? Now I can stand on the stage and listen to the monitors as opposed to standing in front of house and being like, who knows what it sounds like over there? There's a really cool iPad app that's getting a special mention here. I think it's called Go Button, made by the same people that make QLab. Just great for firing off cues. If you take your iPad to a production to fire off cues, that is billable. Bill that to the production company. If you want to create goodwill and you don't want to take the money from them, put it on the invoice and discount it. Put it at 0, but make sure it's on the invoice so they know that your equipment was used in that production. A bonus shout out under the iPad thing is maybe a wireless access point. Most of the time these are in place in my life, but I can think of situations where they wouldn't be. Just a little portable wireless access point that you can plug into the mixer, then you can remote control it with your iPad. Next thing I recommend that you get, a portable dB meter. This is not about measuring safe volume levels. This is about consistency. You want to just mix your show as you always do, but turn that guy on, make sure it's about your head height or something, put it on a microphone stand beside you while you mix, and just glance at it and see like how loud do you tend to mix. Really good metric to make sure like if you're tired, your ears are tired, you want to make sure that you're delivering the same show every single night, right? And then also you get a feel for how loud things are, and if someone's being unreasonable, unreasonably quiet, unreasonably loud, you can whip that out and be like, look, like I know these things aren't accurate, but 83 decibels is not 96. Pro tip for that stuff, use slow measurements. Usually it's got fast and slow, just use the slow one. And finally, miscellaneous stuff which is super important. Head torch. You don't want to be caught in the dark without being able to see. Tape and Sharpies. I kind of think the production should provide tape and Sharpies, but again, you don't want to be caught without them. Gaffer tape, black, colored, and also electrical tape for taping cables to truss and things. USB sticks, at least 2 of them. One which has your show files and another which is ready to be formatted and used for whatever you need to use it for. On a Mac, on a Windows machine, on an Allen and Heath mixer, whatever. You want to be able to just solve your problem with that. So have 2, one with your show files, one that you can use for anything. And then lastly, probably most importantly actually, custom molded earplugs. That's something you want to invest in. You want to protect your hearing. If you get custom molded earplugs, the frequency response is so much better than non-molded earplugs. You're able to make some mixing decisions with them in, and you can keep them in more because you hear things in a more balanced way, as opposed to if you have foam earplugs, it's impossible to make any kind of mixing decision when you're doing that. But you should also have a whole bunch of foam earplugs in your bag, just in case. If you're starting to get a few more gigs and you're taking this live sound thing seriously and you want to get as much work and move up the ladder, as we say, as quickly as possible, then you might want to check out the Live Sound Career Accelerator. I'll leave a link in the description down below. You can apply. If you're a good fit, then we'll have a chat together and we can talk about whether the program is a good fit for you. Anyway, there's a bunch of other stuff which I think is really, really nice to have in your bag. It's not essential. A lot of venues do have it, but you want to keep it there maybe just in case, right? So the first thing is you want a laptop, right? Like, although I said the production should provide any playback laptops, you probably want your own Mac or laptop, which is specifically yours and you take to productions, because you never know when you're going to save the day with that. And also it's just really useful to be able to receive files, send files. You want to be able to read the rundown on a big screen on your laptop, record shows, playback tracks if you need to, that kind of thing. Next up, a stereo passive DI with a mini jack to 2 jack connectors so that you can connect some sort of playback to the system without risk of blowing up, for example, your laptop. If it turns out you need to open up Spotify on your laptop and play something off really, really quickly, you don't want to just grab that XLR to mini jack connector because you will destroy it. I've destroyed plenty of phones doing that. Just kidding, I've destroyed one. You also want to carry around some like gender changers for XLR cables. When someone has an XLR cable and things are plugged in wrong, just taking that out can just solve a problem really, really quickly. I would recommend having a sound card with you, just a small 2-channel sound card, because it's happened more than once that the AV tech has connected up to the mixer and there's just tons of noise in the output of their PC that you're using. And if you can just take out a sound card and be like, use that, and suddenly everything sounds better, you saved the day. Finally, last but not least, Cat5e cable. You want to have some sort of short cable that you can use to connect your laptop up to the system or to just patch something really, really quickly. You will save the day. So that's all for me. Hopefully you have a better idea of what you should buy first now. If you are thinking about buying a Peli or buying some sort of case and filling it with stuff, remember to apply to the Career Accelerator if you're interested in filling your calendar up with live sound work. And I will leave a video up here that is about something else interesting and relevant to this video. Until next time, goodbye.